Hey friend, I am so excited to be back behind the microphone talking to you. But before we get started on today's episode, I would love to encourage you to go back and listen to the last two episodes, which were part 1 and part 2 of my awesome friend Lindsay sharing her menopause story with you. Now, I really encourage you to listen to that. Thank you if you have. Thank you if you have shared it, because it's information that we need, and knowledge is always power. And it's so important that we as women, as part of this community, really do have these conversations, share this information with one another so that we can support each other, so that we're not feeling isolated and battling through these things on our own, because it's normal, but we just don't talk about these things enough. So if you haven't already, please share those episodes with a friend, because it might be that they need to really hear it. And potentially it could be life-changing for somebody. So go and listen to those. And if you haven't left a review, well, please do, because that always helps other people to find this podcast as well. Okay, today we're going to be digging a little bit more into perimenopause and menopause. I'm going to be talking about signs and symptoms of perimenopause, and we're going to be digging in particularly into the weight gain that often happens, unfortunately, as we start to move into this stage in our lives. So go and grab a pen and paper, and we're going to get started. Hey friend, welcome to the Fit Productive Mom podcast. I'm your host SJ. I'm an outspoken women's health advocate, productivity guru, daughter of the king, and a 40-something mum to a sassy, independent daughter. If you feel stressed out, overwhelmed, and hate what you see in the mirror, then that stops right here. I'm here to arm you with the knowledge you need to better understand your mind and body so that you can live a life free of diets, fitness fads, and comparison. If you're ready to commit to making yourself a priority, to reconnect with your body and be a present, productive parent, then this is the podcast for you. Grab that superfood smoothie and let's dig in. Okay, so before we dig into the information that I'm going to share with you about weight gain as one of the symptoms of perimenopause, let's just identify the difference between perimenopause and menopause, because they're both terms that we hear and they're both quite easy to kind of get confused or not to know what is what and what is going on. So first of all, let's talk about perimenopause, because perimenopause is the transition time that actually ends in menopause. And it's important to remember that perimenopause can last years, it can last months, it can really be a process that starts early, it can be a process that starts late, because of course we're all individuals, we're all individually and wonderfully made by God. So of course this process is going to impact women differently. This shift and this change in our hormones that is going to happen to all of us is going to impact all of us very differently. So perimenopause is the transition time into menopause. And menopause is the sort of like the end of perimenopause, if you like. And the way that you can define that you have hit menopause is when your periods have ended and you don't have a period for 12 months. So that's quite important to remember, because actually a lot of the information that we're going to be talking about is actually about the perimenopause and not the menopause. Because what we notice as we age, we are all going to notice some symptoms and some signs that we are going through perimenopause. And it's important to remember, whilst many people think about menopause being like something that happens like in your 50s, actually more and more women are going through and experiencing symptoms of perimenopause in their early 40s, in their late 30s, and some women even actually start to transition into menopause in their 20s. So this can happen at any point, and it's really important to have a good understanding of the signs and the symptoms that this is happening to your body. Now, one of the reasons why I am digging into this stuff is because I'm 42 and I am really starting to notice my body change. like things don't work in quite the same way that they used to in my 20s, in my early 30s. And I think last year I was doing a whole series around Fit at 40. Because I had started to notice that I was experiencing some of the symptoms and signs of perimenopause. And I think it's important to remember, like so many of us think, oh yeah, menopause is like in your 50s. Well, I'm 42. And if you have listened to the episodes around menopause that my friend Lindsay shared, she started to experience some of her symptoms in her early 40s. It is really, really common, and perimenopause can last a long time. So that's why we're going to be digging into this today. So let's dig into some of these signs and symptoms of perimenopause, and you might recognize possibly some of these in yourself. So let's talk about physical symptoms first of all, because in the last two episodes we were talking about like menopause and mental health and anxiety and depression. But today I want to talk about the physical symptoms. So one of the main like identifying features that you are potentially perimenopause is a change to your periods. Now, if you have been around here a while and you've heard me talk about cycle syncing, hopefully you are tracking your cycle. And that's really important because you need to know what is normal for you. You're not going to know if there are differences and changes if you don't know what is normal. So if you haven't tracked your cycle before, I really strongly suggest you get an app, you use your iPhone, you grab one of the, like there are so many apps out there that you can use to track your cycle. Get one of those and start tracking your cycle for 3 months to see like what is normal for you. How are you feeling at different times? I really like one called My Flow, spelled FLO, because it's really, really good in terms of the symptoms and all of the different sort of signs and symptoms really is the word that you can input into the app. And the more information that you put into it, the cleverer it gets at predicting where you are in your cycle, what's going on, what's happening. So you need to track your cycle first of all. Once you know what is normal for you, and I've been tracking my cycle for a really long time now, so I know what is normal for you. Once you know what is normal, you're going to notice if things are changing. So you might notice that your period is lasting for a longer time, or it might be lasting for a shorter time, or you might notice that it's getting heavier or lighter. And this was one of the things that I really noticed fairly recently, was that the length of my cycle was getting shorter and my period was getting shorter and heavier. And I have been somebody who's been really lucky through the whole of my lifetime to have incredibly like regular, predictable periods, and that's why it's been quite easy for me to track what's been going on. And this was one of the bells that started ringing last year when I started to notice some changes to what was going on each month. So start tracking. If you haven't tracked before, start tracking and make sure that you continue to do this, because as you go through perimenopause and you go through this transition to menopause, it's going to be really, really helpful for you to kind of like sort of start to get a bit of an idea and a prediction of potentially some of the things that are changing and how to kind of like guess or predict that those things are going to happen, because things are going to change. Things are going to become like less regular. Things are going to potentially like be heavier, lighter. You might skip periods, and so many women that I've spoken to will sort of go like 10, 11 months without a period, and then they have one. So it means that they're still in perimenopause, because menopause is not until you have gone a whole year without having a period. So other signs and symptoms that you could be experiencing perimenopause are hot flushes and feeling those potentially during the day, but also like night sweats is a big clue that you could be perimenopausal. And this is something that I started to experience last year. I was just waking up maybe like once or twice a month, not very often, just waking up in the night really, really hot, really, really sweaty, having to like change my pajamas because I was incredibly uncomfortable and really, really sweaty. And I'm normally one of those people that's really, really cold when I go to bed. Now, I have changed like some of my nutrition. I've changed the way that I exercise. I have changed some of the supplements that I take, and I can actually tell you now that I don't experience those hot flushes at the moment, which is really nice. I'm not waking up and it's not interrupting my sleep. And those kind of things I'm going to dig into as we sort of go down this perimenopausal rabbit hole together. And hot flushes can be really frustrating because you might be sort of like at work or, you know, like in the car or something, and all of a sudden you feel really, really hot and you're thinking, what is wrong with me? You've got to have the window open and maybe you've got to stick your head out the window like the dog. I'm sharing that because basically that is something that I have done. But these are real indicators that our hormones are changing and that we are potentially experiencing signs of perimenopause. Now, there are so many signs and symptoms, and I haven't got like hours today to go through them all. But as we carry on with this podcast and we kind of dig into this information around hormones and perimenopause a bit more, we can talk about some more of these. But for now, the third one that I want to share with you is a change to body shape. And this is one of those signs and symptoms that is quite easy to recognize. And it's often one of the reasons why a lot of women come to me as a personal trainer. They will say to me, like, I haven't changed anything. My diet's still the same. The exercise that I'm doing isn't working. And that was exactly what it was like for me. So just over about a year ago now, I was in that boat. And as a personal trainer, like, I'm quite active. I eat a reasonably healthy diet. And I just found that for some reason, my body did not get the memo that we were supposed to stay the same weight. And since I had Chloe, I really didn't struggle losing the baby weight. And then all of a sudden, I sort of like hit 41, and it was like a switch had been flicked. And my body was just like, all that stuff that you've been doing before, well, actually, we're not going to do that anymore. And I found that quite quickly I was putting on weight. My clothes started to feel quite uncomfortable and quite tight. And it really got me thinking about what was I doing? Like, what was going on with my nutrition? What was going on with my exercise? And I've had to change quite a lot. And to be honest with you, in full transparency, it's still something that I'm really having to work on to try and find this right balance for my body now that I am older and I am starting to experience these symptoms of perimenopause. So when it comes to your body shape, you're probably going to notice that it's just harder to lose weight. And that all of those things that you did in your 20s, where you could eat what you liked and drink what you liked, and your body was just like, yeah, that's fine, those things become harder. And you might notice that you gain extra weight around your tummy. Maybe you find that you carry some extra weight on your hips and your thighs. And you're thinking, do you know what? I really haven't changed the way that I eat or the exercise that I'm doing. I'm very consistent. Then that could potentially be a sign that you are struggling with perimenopause symptoms. So weight gain, unfortunately, as we go through the transition through perimenopause to menopause, is one of those symptoms that is quite common. Many women experience it. It's totally normal. It's not you, but it can be incredibly frustrating. Like, I feel so frustrated with my body. I'm like, excuse me, we are doing all of the things that we used to do, and now you've decided we're going to put on weight rather than maintain. So please feel that you are not on your own. This is something that I am working on every single day. I haven't quite cracked it yet, and I would love for you to come on this journey with me. If you are struggling with weight gain and you feel that you are doing everything that you possibly can and you've tried every single diet and nothing is working, I would love to invite you to come on this journey with me. We're going to work out together. We're going to be part of a community together where we hold each other accountable. We're going to have a look at our nutrition. We're going to check in with each other, talk about the different exercises that we're doing, look at the foods that we're eating, and just come together and go through this process as a community. So if you are in the UK, Canada, or in the United States, I would love for you to join me. The way that you can do that is to click the link in the show notes. It's going to take you over to my affiliate online workout platform where you can be part of my community. Via an app, you're going to have access to me and thousands of different types of workouts and nutrition plans, and I will help you personally choose the right workout and the right nutrition program for you. And you're going to be part of an amazing community of women who are coming together every day. We're going to hold one another accountable. We're going to talk about the workouts that we're doing. We're going to talk about the food that we're eating. We're going to share healthy recipes. We're going to support each other and cheer one another on the good days. And we're going to lift each other up on those days when we struggle, when it's hard, when we don't want to get up and move our bodies. And I'm going to be there like having your personal trainer in your pocket. So again, if you are in the US, the UK or Canada, you can come and join that community via the link in the show notes. It's going to be so much fun. My affiliate company are incredible. They produce some really high quality online workouts. And the reason I do this is it then allows me to actually coach you and support you, because I'm not having to plan lots and lots of different workouts for different people. The workouts are already there, but actually it means that I can dig in and I can help and support you more as a group community, and cheer you on and to support you through the highs and lows of any weight loss or healthy eating, healthy exercise program. So I would love to invite you. Click the link in the show notes. Come and join us. It's going to be so much fun. I'm going to be holding you accountable to your workouts, to your nutrition. I'm going to share some healthy recipes with you. I'm going to support you as you are choosing the right exercise program for yourself. It's just going to be such a wonderful community of women coming together, being part of something supportive, empowering, and just feeling like we are not alone as we are going through this perimenopause journey. Now, that being said, of course, you are so welcome to take part on this program with us. Even if you are not going through perimenopause, perhaps you've had a baby recently and you might be struggling to lose the weight like post-baby, like I did when I had Chloe, or maybe you just need a bit of a kick up the butt right now to help you to lose some weight, or maybe you've got an event or a wedding or something coming up, or a dress that you want to get into, or a holiday, then we're going to be here to support you regardless of what your goal is. And as an extra bonus, I'm going to be giving you my Fit Productive Mum fitness tracker for free as a downloadable PDF. So you can use that to track your workouts, to plan your meals, to keep track of your hydration, your self-care, all of the things. So that's an extra bonus for you as well. Okay, so we've spoken about signs and symptoms of perimenopause. And one of those, as we've spoken about already, is the change to our body shape, particularly and most commonly gaining weight. So why does this happen? Well, there's kind of two main things that are going on. So first of all, as we are going through perimenopause and into menopause, our body is reducing the amount of estrogen that we are producing. Now, estrogen is I've heard it referred to as the Beyonce of hormones. It's high energy. It's hey, look at me, here I am. And it really is the hormone that helps us to feel more energetic. It's the hormone that gets us up off the sofa and has us doing that workout. And if you scroll down, you can find some of the episodes that I did about cycle syncing, where I talk about what's going on with your hormones, how you can make use of your hormones to improve your energy levels, to really like optimize what's going on in your cycle, to make the most of like when you're doing your exercise, the foods to eat, all of that sort of thing. I will link some of those episodes in the show notes for you, because it's definitely worth checking back in with those. But going back to what is happening is we go through perimenopause. It really is the first sort of thing that we notice is this change in our hormones, our estrogen, which influences the amount of body fat we have. It influences the body fat regulation. And as that is changing, and it isn't actually declining, what happens is the receptors and the communication between the hormones and different receptors in our body actually, like, they're not communicating very well. So it isn't so much actually like estrogen is disappearing, particularly in the early stages of perimenopause. Actually, the problem is that estrogen isn't communicating with the receptors and the rest of our body in the way that it used to. And that's why our bodies find it difficult to regulate the amount of body fat, and it impacts the regulation of our metabolism. So ultimately what happens, and we all know this, that as we get older, our metabolism drops anyway. So what is happening as our hormones are changing, our metabolism is changing, and that impacts the way that our body metabolizes glucose, sugars, and fats. So that's one of the first reasons why we gain weight as we're going into perimenopause. And secondly, and this happens to men as well as women, the other thing that we struggle with as we age is that we get muscle wastage. Now, when you dig into like the facts and stuff around like aging and muscle wastage, muscle mass decreases 3 to 8% every decade after your 30th birthday. And that is like, oh my goodness, like what is going on? So, by the time that you hit 40, you're potentially going to have 8% less muscle than you did when you were 30. And that is one of the reasons that you can be putting on weight, because we know that muscle boosts our metabolism. So the more muscle you have, the more like active your metabolism is, which is why men who are more muscly than women naturally have a higher metabolism, and which is why it's incredibly frustrating if you live with a man where he can literally like sit there and just eat all day and doesn't actually seem to put on any weight. So ultimately, unfortunately, as we all age, and this is men and women, this muscle wastage happens, and muscle boosts our metabolism. So this is why it's really important, and why I encourage you to do strength training, because we've really got to stay on top of this. Like, how many of you potentially like go to the gym or maybe go outside for a run or something like that? It's so important to get some proper strength training into your daily, like your weekly workout routine in some form or another. So that could look like having a couple of strength training workouts during the week, getting some dumbbells, having like some hand weights or something if you're going for a run, putting some ankle weights on if you're doing some dance workouts, just something that is going to add some extra resistance to help you to boost your muscle mass as you're kind of like trying to combat this natural aging muscle wastage that happens. And for women as well, it's so important that we are strength training, because as we get older and as our hormones change as we go into menopause, we're more at risk of osteoporosis, which is brittle bones. And if you are strength training, remember, your muscles are attached to your bones. So if you have got good, strong, healthy muscles, it's going to mean that you are less likely to struggle with osteoporosis and brittle bones, because you're going to have really, really good, strong muscles which are supporting your bones and are around your bones, supporting your bones. Now, earlier on in the episode, I invited you to join my online workout community. And as part of that process, when we're choosing workouts, I'm going to guide you towards workouts that have a strength training as part of it, because it's so important to support your body with strength training, and it's also going to help you to lose weight. And I know it sounds counterintuitive, and so many women are like, oh gosh, am I gonna like get bulky? No, you're not gonna get bulky. You're not a man. You know, this isn't about like bodybuilding or anything like that. It's about getting some really good muscle mass to support your bones, so that when you're like 60, 70, 80, your 80-year-old self is really going to thank you for this. So if you haven't already, pause this podcast, click the link in the show notes, come and sign yourself up. It's going to give you access for a whole year. I'm going to be there in the app, kicking your butt, helping you to choose the right workout, the right nutrition, and we're going to absolutely smash this together. And you're also going to get the free download of my fitness tracker workbook, so you can print that out. You can use that to help you track. If you like to have like a paper and pen tracker, it's a really, really good option for you. But within the app that we use, you can also track your workouts as well. Okay, so moving on to the last part of this episode, which is where I'm just going to touch on really, really briefly some of the ways that you can beat this menopause weight gain. So first of all, exercise. And I've said it twice now, I'm going to say it again. Please come and join this online community. I've been using these online workouts for, well, Chloe's 5 now. I've been using them for 6 years, and it's how I have affordably stayed on top of my health, my fitness. It's how I train. It saves you time, it saves you money. You don't need a gym membership. All you've got to do is do some like workouts at home in your living room for about 20 minutes to half an hour, and you just get yourself dumbbells, and it's really, really simple, really easy. You can even do the workouts in your pants if you want to. So definitely exercise, and as I said before, strength training is really, really important. We want to build the muscle. We want to reduce the possibility of having osteoporosis. Number 2 is to prioritize your sleep. Now, if you're a mum, you know what sleep deprivation is, and your body needs sleep. Like, you know how important sleep is, because those newborn days or even like, you know, like toddler days or whatever, like, you know that when you are tired, it's so much more difficult to do the things that you want to do. So this is why you need to prioritize your sleep, because if you have sleep, you have more energy. So you're more likely to go and do the exercise, go out for a walk, do the thing. And also, if you are well rested, you are less likely to reach for the fatty, sugary foods that are going to cause you to gain weight. So sleep is really, really important. Number 3 is about finding a way to track your nutrition. Now, I am not suggesting that you track every single calorie. Like, I am not here for that. Like, I've been and done that in my mid-20s, and I almost got to the point of becoming like anorexic because I got so obsessed over it. But really, this is just about getting honest with yourself, looking at what you're eating like over a week, what foods have you got on your plate, and then trying to find an adjustment of, okay, do I need to eat some more vegetables? Do I need to increase protein? Do I need to drink some more water because I'm dehydrated and my body is retaining water? Do I need to cut out like excess salt? Am I eating too much processed sugar? Am I drinking too much alcohol? Because to be completely honest with you, peri-menopause, menopause and alcohol do not work very well together. Like, what can you be doing to help your body as it is going through these changes and these challenges? And that's how we've got to think about this. Like, food, nutrition, it's about supporting our bodies to be the healthiest that they possibly can be. It's not about rewarding ourselves with food. It's not about depriving ourselves of certain things. It's like, if I eat this food, how's it going to make me feel? Like, and sometimes we just need a bar of chocolate, and that is okay. But it's about thinking about food in terms of the long-term gain that you're going to get from it. Like if I have, and this is really an example for me personally, if I have a takeaway, and sometimes I do, I know that I'm going to go to bed thirsty. So it's really likely that I'm going to drink a lot of water before I go to bed, which is probably going to mean I'm going to have to get up about 2 or 3 times in the night to go to the toilet, which is going to disturb my sleep, which means that the next day I'm going to be tired. And sometimes I'm like, do you know what? That's not worth it. I'm going to make a dinner for myself. Those are the kind of things that we need to be thinking about in relation to our nutrition. So finding a way to track your nutrition from a holistic perspective as an overview, but this is not a stick to beat yourself with by any means. And if you do decide to join my online workout community, which I've now spoken about 4 times, so go and press that button and join us, then I'm going to show you how you can do that in a way that is like healthy, is like something that you can do for the rest of your life, fits around your family, and is not going to have you counting every single calorie, weighing all your food, because like I am not here for that sort of thing. Okay, number 4, if you are struggling with symptoms of perimenopause and they are impacting you physically and mentally, and go back and listen to Lindsay's episode where she talks about like how it impacted her with depression and anxiety and suicidal thoughts, go and talk to a medical professional, because they might want to have you on some form of HRT, or they might find like some kind of medication that can support you. And if you are, and so many women who have used HRT have found that that gives them the energy and the enthusiasm that they need to go and do the exercise, to make the healthy food choices. It's not a magic wand that's necessarily going to help you lose 10 pounds, but it's going to maybe perhaps give you that energy that you need to make those healthier choices on a daily basis. And number 5, and this is something that I'm so passionate about, don't get sucked in by fad diets. Like, there are so many things out there, and honestly, like the amount of messages I get in my Facebook inbox that's like, hey, do you want to join my like shred program and lose like 40 pounds in 10 days? And I'm like, no, drink this shake, take this pill. I had somebody tag me recently in some kind of diet pill, and I was sort of like, so why are you tagging me in this post? Like, do you think I need weight? Are you trying to, like, do you think I need to lose weight? Are you trying to sell me something? And I was like, okay, right, that's enough now. Like, please, my friend, do not fall for these fads. They don't work. They are not going to, like, you might lose weight in the short term, but we all know that these things end up with us putting on like a whole load more weight than we started with. We need to adopt a healthy way of doing these things. Please don't waste your money on that. They're really expensive. Like, I mean, and honestly, who doesn't want to eat real food? Like, do you want to spend the rest of your life like drinking some kind of disgusting shake and eating some sort of bar while your kids are watching you? I don't want that, because I want to teach my daughter how to look after her body and her health in a sustainable, healthy way. So please don't fall for those diet fads. I know I bang on about this one, but I really feel that God needs me to put that message in the world. Like, there are so many organizations and companies who are making billions, millions and billions of pounds out of our misery, who sell us these quick fixes and they don't work. And it's just so sad to see so many women, and myself included, like I've done this before, like so many of us wasting our money on things that don't work. So please don't. Go and find yourself, like if you don't want to join my online fitness community, go and find a personal trainer, go and find a nutritionist, someone who is actually going to support you and help you to achieve weight loss healthy healthy weight loss and who is going to teach you habits that are going to set you up for success for life. And that's what I'm going to do with the online community. I'm going to teach you all of the important habits and things that are going to set you up for success. So if you are in the US, in the UK, or in Canada, come and join us. Come and be part of this community. Let's hold each other accountable. Let's exercise. Let's get our nutrition right. Let's support our body with real, healthy, proper food. And let's go on this journey together. Okay, now I know this episode was a little bit longer than my usual episodes, but just to recap, we were talking about the difference between perimenopause and menopause, signs and symptoms of perimenopause, which can be changes to your periods, hot flushes, changes to body shape, ultimately gaining weight, particularly around our middle. And then we've also talking about the reasons why we gain weight. And then I've given you the four simple ways that you can start to beat this weight gain is exercise, prioritizing sleep, tracking your nutrition, speaking to a medical professional if you need some sort of support, hormone replacement, medication, and then also my friend number 5, do not get sucked in by fad diets. Now, I hope you found this episode helpful. We're going to be digging into perimenopause and menopause a bit more. If you enjoy this information, please drop me an email, let me know, and I will make sure that I am creating more podcasts around this sort of topic. Come and join the online workout community. The link to that is in the show notes. Have an amazing week, and I look forward to connecting with you in the next episode. I hope you loved today's episode and that you learned something, and I pray it blessed you in some way. If so, take a moment to share this with a friend, and I would love it if you could take just 30 seconds for me to leave a review on Apple Podcasts, because it's the only way I know you like the show, and I love hearing from you too.